Ben Shapiro's really grown as a person. He used to just attack Ilhan Omar for being Muslim and comparing her to the terrorists who shot up the synagogue in San Diego, but he's really evolved as a person. He's still attacking her, but this time he's attacking her for what she said to Joe Manchin on his hypocrisy over Build Back Better. Now, his accusations against Omar are still made up, but as you'll see how it plays out, he thinks this guy from Beverly Hills, California, who is well funded by giant corporations. He knows what the people of West Virginia want. Here is Ben Shapiro talking trash on Ilhan, playing a clip of her, and then finishing his point. Take a look.
For a $7 trillion package, because AOC and Ilhan Omar wanted it, these people are out of their minds. They truly do seem to think that like small boroughs in New York govern the entire country, and that senators are not answerable to their home states. And Ilhan Omar joined the crew. She slammed Manchin as well. Here is the horrible congresswoman from Minnesota.
The excuses that he just made, I think, are complete bullshit. It is really disheartening to hear him say that he has been trying to get there for the people of West Virginia, because that's a complete lie.
Well, I mean, if the people of West Virginia don't love Ilhan Omar, I mean, wow, I mean, when she speaks, the people of West Virginia listen. That is definitely a state, West Virginia, where Ilhan Omar, I'm sure, is wildly popular. Her perspectives are super popular in West Virginia. Again, the delusional nature of progressives who think they have a national program, as opposed to the reality of politics, which is you're always cobbling together a coalition to do incremental things. That is most of politics. And that it turns out Joe Biden did not have a mandate for anything remotely like this. It's amazing. And they will continue deluding themselves along these lines, the progressives, which means that Joe Biden should get with the program, right? If he had any brains at all, if he didn't have mush for brains at this point, which, I mean, physically mush for brains, then he would probably be pushing for a piecemeal approach to a lot of this legislation. But I don't know if he can do it.
There's Emma at the end because we saw this on Majority Report, hat tip to them. But definitely, okay, so there's a couple things. One, he's saying that West Virginians do not support the Build Back Better plan. Two, he's saying that progressives are wildly out of touch with America and have something that only works in the boroughs of New York and ostensibly Minnesota. And then there's some other stuff that he gets to. Third, he thinks it should be a piecemeal approach to fixing these. So Cenk, those 3 points, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so look guys, we've told you 100 times that the people of West Virginia actually want Build Back Better. And I'm gonna give you stats about that in a second. And we're gonna actually prove our case with facts, not feelings. But what Ben Shapiro is doing there, let's not bury the lead, is really kind of an interesting admission on his part. Because he didn't say that the people of West Virginia, according to the polling, would be against Ilhan Omar's position. He just said the people of West Virginia are not gonna agree with Ilhan Omar. Why? Why wouldn't they agree with Ilhan Omar? For example, she's for higher wages. We know through the polling that the people of West Virginia, unsurprisingly, are for higher wages, including a higher minimum wage. And that's a policy issue where they would definitely agree with Ilhan Omar. But that's not what Ben's saying. He's saying they would never agree with her. Why? You know it. Because she's Muslim, she's black, she's a woman, she wears a headdress, right? All of those things. So Ben Shapiro is implicitly saying there, without any question, he thinks the people of West Virginia are racist and bigoted. So just looking at Ilhan Omar, they would say, I don't agree with her because I don't like blacks, Muslims, women, etc. right? Now, I didn't say that. You saw the video. You saw Ben very clearly implying that. And he's probably projecting. I don't know if that's true. By the way, I'm open to the idea that that might be true. That unfortunately there might be enough racism and bigotry in West Virginia where they wouldn't even hear her out. They just go, Muslim woman, no way. I don't know. Ben seems to know, he thinks he knows, right? And at a bare minimum, he is definitely projecting his own views onto the voters of West Virginia. She's a black Muslim woman. I would never listen to her on anything. It doesn't matter if she has my best interests in mind.
And also, like, Ben Shapiro is a Los Angeles elitist. He couldn't be more. Isn't he like this rich kid from like From Beverly Hills, California?
Yes.
Yes.
No, but no, he moved out of California to save taxes.
Where did he move to? Did he move to Nash Vegas or whatever?
Yeah.
Go to Nashville and tell me that Nashville is super hip now.
It doesn't matter, but you're right. I mean, it's funny because the Jimmy Dores of the world would say about it, people like Emma, oh, she grew up in a cul-de-sac. It just means dead end. It doesn't mean anything, cul-de-sac. And so they're like, the right wingers will love to say, oh yeah, they're rich and elitist. And the fake left wing joins in that. And what happened? Max Blumenthal's dad is the most centrist corporate Democrat in the history of America, Sidney Blumenthal, right? And Ben Shapiro is an elitist who grew up in Beverly Hills with a silver spoon up his ass.
And Jimmy's a cop. Jimmy's a cop. Jimmy Dore's a cop. Every time I sat next to him on this panel, it was like, my whole family's cops. I grew up as cops. Everything's a cop.
He grew up in a cop cul-de-sac.
It's so frustrating. It's such a non-starter argument. The argument's a cul-de-sac. It's a dead end.
Anyway, so that's Shapiro's. Look, I don't care about his background. I care about his ideas. It's just the irony of him with his faux populism. Okay, you know who's a real populist? Someone who can't say faux populist. Anyways, back to the main argument. So are the people of West Virginia with Ben Shapiro, or are they with Ilhan Omar? Well, let's find out. Let's go to graphic 1 here. This is Data for Progress. They did a poll of West Virginians. Well, that makes sense. This support for Build Back Better, its key provisions and its pay-fors isn't limited, they explain, to solidly blue states. In West Virginia specifically, all provisions of the bill, including clean energy investments, are supported by at least 60% of voters. This includes investments in long-term care. That's a plus 78. That's not 78 approval, that's a plus 78. I've never seen anything like that. Net support, expanding Medicare coverage, plus 70%, childcare investments, plus 53%, paid leave, plus 46%, universal pre-K, plus 42%, and clean energy investments, a stunning plus 28% in the state of West Virginia. So the voters of West Virginia most definitely agree with Ilhan Omar. Get that through your thick skulls, you racist pricks, pretending you speak for the voters of West Virginia.
Yeah, and it's not just West Virginia, by the way, polling from Data for Progress. And there's a bunch of polls that essentially mimic this exact finding. The overwhelming voter support in key states for Build Back Better, including Georgia, 53% net support, North Carolina plus 50, Pennsylvania plus 46, Michigan plus 46, West Virginia plus 43, Wisconsin 39, Arizona 37%. So it has more support in a lot of these are swing states, but it is an insanely high amount of support. Why? Something that Republicans do all the time. They go and they test messages and they find polling data that supports a certain kind of message and they repeat that message non-freaking stop. I thought that in West Virginia, all the arguments for the for the clean energy subsidies were the hardest to make because you had to convince entire sectors of the energy industry to change their tune. But no, as you reported last week, the coal union is like, no, we probably want to shore up our union's power into the future. So please invest in different kinds of energy because we're already in the union and maybe we can switch over to a different section of it as different energy jobs, this time clean energy jobs happen. So every step of the way, Ben Shapiro is utterly freaking wrong. And this is their hegemon of argument and debate on the left, and it doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah, their idea of intellectual is, Muslim, there's no way we agree with her. That's intellectual, hilarious. Seems like you're very deep in your feelings. Last couple of things here, guys. We have a correction. Apparently, Ben Shapiro has moved to Boca, a populist hotbed.
There it is.
Boca in Florida, are you kidding me? Anyway, I don't know and I don't care where he lives, but that's what we hear. Okay, so the last things are, look, he says Biden has no mandate. No, and Emma and they talked about this on Majority Report. He arguably had too big a mandate. He didn't want that big a mandate because he's not a progressive at all. So he wins by 7 million votes. He's got the entire Democratic Party behind him, and he promised all these things he doesn't actually want to do, like $15 minimum wage, negotiating drug prices, etc. And he's like, God damn it, what do I do with this mandate? I have to somehow destroy it. Hey, Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, can you help me trash my own mandate? And let's all pretend the Republicans are right, and let's trash our own theoretical agenda, which is actually a progressive agenda we don't believe in at all, and our donors told us that we are not allowed to do. So what did he do? He cut, and Joe Manchin helped him cut the $3.5 trillion bill into a $1.75 trillion bill, now a $0 bill because it doesn't exist. But he, at 1.75, lost nearly half its popularity because all Republican, Independent, and Democratic voters all wanted it to be higher, not lower. They wanted more for the average American worker, not less. And when you took out things like lowering drug prices, well, then they're like, well, what the hell? You just screwed me. You said you were gonna do lower drug prices, and now you're rubbing it in my face that you're not. Now I don't like it as much, okay? And so that is, and hence, and Ben Shapiro here sounds just like the mainstream media. All this rebel, right-wing, intellectual, dark, no, that's a corporate media talking point 101. Let's shred this thing until people are super pissed. Let's give them the crumbs and then kick them while they're down. Okay, so why don't you just go work at ABC or CNN? That's exactly Jake Tapper 101. You're not a rebel, you're not some sort of right-wing populist. You're a very standard, cheesy propagandist for corporate rule. The only thing he said that I agree with is, he's like, oh, they should do it piecemeal. Deal. Put up negotiating drug prices and have everybody vote on it. I want to see every Republican vote against it. They're all against it, every single Republican. It polls at about 90% in the country. Almost all Republican voters want it. Go ahead, Ben Shapiro, put it up in West Virginia.
Put it up in Florida where you live.
Yeah, go ahead, put it up in Boca. See how it does, okay? Should Medicare be allowed to negotiate drug prices? I already know the answer, it's 88% say yes, okay? Go ahead, let's vote on it. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, I wanna see you vote against it. And I wanna see every single Republican scum, corrupt politician vote for higher drug prices because they get paid by the drug companies. Go ahead, I dare you. He won't do any of that. He'll hide behind the culture wars and racism and bigotry because that's all he's got. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.